everyone, it is Grandma Moose and Marty, and today I'm here to give you a really quick beginner's lesson in paper piecing. This is not the lesson to show you how to cut out your papers, how to cut out your fabrics. This is how to show you when you are ready to start sewing on that paper, which can be really scary to some people. First, I want to talk about a couple tools you're going to need. You are going to want to use the Schmetz Microtex Sharps. They are 7010s. They're a little bit smaller needle, but that's what you're going to want to use. And if you look, there will be a link that you can purchase some of those if you'd like. The other tool that we like to use is an add-a-quarter ruler, and it does exactly what it says. It's got a little thing we butt up against some template plastic, and it adds a quarter onto what we're trimming off. This also, there will be a link that you can purchase these if you want. I also would like to warn you that this is just a little teaser. We will be doing a whole class on this that you will be able to download and do a whole paper piecing project. The class will be the milk thistle placemats. It won't be in these colors, but it will be this beginner's project of placemats for you. So that's what we're going to show you today. And when you get your paper piecing project, they come in numerous pieces of newsprint like this. These are the ones that you actually, with the solid line and the dotted line, you sew on your solid line, and that's how you know it's when you're going to sew on. The other one are cutting templates, and that's these that you will lay them on a big strip of fabric, and you got a cut line 1 and a cut line 2 and a cut line 3, and these are your pieces of fabric that you'll use for sewing. We're not going to deal with those today. You've already got those cut out, supposedly. So when you start sewing, you're going to probably have a folded template piece to sew on like this. All you need to do is lay it print side down, grab your iron without steam, and press it. You can always press on these without steam. If you use steam, you could smear some of the newsprint, and you could, it'll wrinkle and roll up. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to sit down now so I can show you. And as you're looking, the quilt behind me is actually paper pieced. And so it's very precise. Some people are very scared by it, but there's nothing to be afraid of. We also like to use an open-toed applique foot. If I put it down there, you can see it. The reason we like to use this is it's open and you can see exactly the line that you're going to sew on. So I'm going to put that back on so we can do it. And let's get to some paper piecing. This is really my, there I got it. This is really sort of my favorite thing to do. It's so precise, and once you get it in your head, it really works. So as you can see here, we've got a solid line, line 1, and then we've got our dotted line. In order to start, the only time your whole paper piecing project is when you're doing line 1, is that you use that dotted line. Got a little splinter there. Use that dotted line, and I'm going to, I think I've got it from my angle, just fold this back on there. So now we have an area that it says Section 1 template D2-1. D2 is the section we're working on, and 1 is the section 1 that we want to use. So your templates that you have cut out will say that. I just cut some out so we'd have some here. So I'm going to fold this over, and this is the easiest way to start. You only have to trim one time then once you've sewn. I'm just going to dab some glue on there. This is actually paper glue. It does come off fairly easy that way when you're ready to rip all the paper off. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay this, and I need to look at it so I can see, lay that right along that fold line. So it's on that fold line, and if you flip this over, you can see that it covers this whole section here, right up to this 1/4 inch line that we wanted. So we have our 1/4 inch seam. If you don't fold in that line and you just flop this on there, you end up having to trim there and here and there in the next place. It's just easier. So that's our first one. This would be your right side facing up. Just remember that when you sew right sides together. This is our second section, and we're going to lay that right on top of here. Sew line glue, which there's a link for that, is awesome to use here. I forgot mine at home because I do most of my paper piecing at home. But that's good. Then you can glue just in your seam line so none of this shifts because you do a lot of moving. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. I'm going to move my glue, and I'm going to lay this down here. And when you start sewing, you're going to want to start about a stitch or 2 off of that sew line. And I have my stitch length set at about a 1.5. You can use a 1.5 or 1.8. Either one works. You just want a much smaller stitch length because you want to be able to pull this paper off. When we're all done, it pulls off much easier than if you have larger stitches. So I'm just going to stitch this really quick here. This small little line, I'm sewing right on the line. My mom always said, I don't know why you like to sew. You can't sew a straight line, but I can sew on a straight line. And when you finish just a stitch or two off of that. And the reason for that is because then as you crisscross your lines, it really locks them in. And I've got a good mark there. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit of thread. And you can see this is what we've got now. Doesn't look very nice. I'm going to go over here to my iron then. I'm going to lay it down there and just press it nicely. Once again, don't use steam when you're doing this because you do not want to curl your paper. You don't want to stretch anything. You want to just leave it as close to nice as you can get it. So now we've got the hardest part is getting it started. You've now done your hardest part, if you can believe that. Now we're going to do the same thing again, except this time we're going to fold on this solid line. We're going to fold on our sewing line. And the reason for that is now we're going to mark the 1/4 inch line that we already had marked when we folded on this dotted line. It's confusing until you get to working on it. But if you go like that, then you just pull that off. Don't worry, you can see maybe that the paper pulled a little there. That's all right, because it all comes off anyway. Take my 1/4 ruler here, and this is where we slide it. You butt it up against there. I'm going to make my 1/4 inch seam again, or seam allowance, so I know that it's there. And throw that aside, open this up, and voila, we have a very nice looking triangle. Now you do the same thing again. Lay this on here, right on your edge, because you already have your 1/4 inch marked here. That's what that 1/4 ruler does. So you take that, and I'm going to flip it this way so I don't have so much over there. I always double check and make sure that everything is lined up there. We're going to find line number 2 here. It's very easy. We're on line 2. You just keep counting. And a couple stitches before and a couple stitches after. And you have the start of a very wonderful paper piecing project. And every single one, I shouldn't say every single one. This is a Quiltworks one, a Judy Niemeyer one. Now you do the same thing. They all work the same way. They all have the 1/4 inch marked, and you just press it and you move on to the next one. Once you get used to this and you really sort of figure out what you're doing, this is actually, there's 8 of these, or 12 of these, because this is actually a set of 6. So you will make 12 of these. One will go this way and one will go, I gotta think, one goes this way and one goes the other way. And you will have, you can chain piece these, and so it goes much quicker. You can just do one, next one, next one, next one, next one, do all your section 1s, section 2s, section 3s until you're all done with section 17. So that is a quick, easy way to start your paper piecing. The links for the products that we used are in the comments. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.